The background of this unusual passage from Matthew's gospel is actually what we're hearing about in Jeremiah. And Jeremiah, I'm sure, is super confusing. So as a really brief setup, Jeremiah, again, is a prophet in the 500s when Israel as a nation is about to collapse. At the time, this is this is centuries after King David and Solomon are dead. The kingdom that they had established has had interior rupture. It's been divided into the north and the south. The north kingdom is already wiped out and the south is about to be wiped out. So this is the end of all things, that the time that he's prophesying. And here our Lord says, I will be the God of all the tribes of Israel. So this matters. It's not just the north. It's not just the south. All the tribes of Israel, and they shall be my people. And then he reminds them, with an age-old love I have loved you, and so I have kept my mercy to you. Again, I will restore you. You shall be rebuilt, O virgin Israel, which also means all her sins will be wiped away. Her virginity will be restored to her. So he says, you'll be carrying the tambourines. It'll be a time of celebration. But then there's another key line in here. Yes, a day will come when the watchman will call out on Mount Ephraim, rise up, let us go to Zion, to the Lord our God. Mount Ephraim is an area of the north, but Zion, where the temple is, the temple that, Jesus will go to and things like that, that's in the south. So for a watchman of the north to tell the northerners, rise up, we're actually going to go worship in the south, means then there's going to be reconciliation between the two brothers, the two kingdoms. Well, when this woman comes up to Jesus, and it says that she's a Canaanite, which means she's not even Jewish, she's not of the people of the north, she's not of the people of the south. In fact, she is of the people who are the enemies of the Israelites, who had tortured the Israelites throughout their entire history and done terrible, terrible things. When she says, have pity on me, and he says, I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, it's because he's in the process of doing everything that through Jeremiah God said was going to happen. He's making his rounds, going up to the north, coming down to the south, proclaiming the gospel, uniting the people of God. And he's going to be successful because how he's doing this is he's creating the church. And we're going to see in Acts of the Apostles that the Samaritan people are worshiping in the church of God with the apostles. So all of this is playing itself out. And while it's playing out, she comes in like a comet. And it's almost like an interruption. So he's saying to her, I am busy fulfilling all the things that God had foretold were going to happen. All the things that you as a people reject. You don't believe in any of this stuff. Which is another way of saying, so if you don't believe in any of this stuff, why are you coming to me? Why are you asking me of something? Remember, you don't accept this. And she says, Lord, help me. She doesn't answer any of that stuff. She doesn't express a desire for conversion or anything like that. She's like, look, can you just give me the magic? I just need the magic. Well, that's not the kind of relationship our Lord wants to have with us. It's the same as when people who don't practice the faith at all, who for all intents and purposes lead lifestyles totally contrary to the gospel and all the things that God have revealed, have no desire of actually participating in the covenant, but they throw up that Hail Mary prayer and say, Lord, could you, I'm in a really difficult situation. Can you just come in and rescue me from the situation so I can go back to my sinful lifestyle and then you and I can part ways again? Well, God's not interested in that. He wants love. He's the bridegroom. He doesn't accept less than that. And so what Jesus is doing here then is he starts egging her on. He's not necessarily saying, look, you're not in the club. He's at least saying that. But the other side of that is, but you could be. You could be, but you are not. I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Would you like to be one of those people? And she gives, Lord, help me, come on. And he says, it is not right to take the food of the children and throw it to the dogs. But you don't have to be one of those. You could be a child of God. And then she does the prerequisite to become part of God's family. She reaches out with this incredible act of faith. She humbles herself and says, even the dogs eat the scraps that fall from the table of the masters. And our Lord is overwhelmed by her perseverance, by her humility, and all of this undergirding ultimately her faith. And he says, woman, great is your faith. She has reached a point that she previously had never known. She's come to believe in these things. And because of that, she then gets the privilege of being one of the members of the family of God. Let it be done for you as you wish. This harshness of Jesus that seems harsh is him creating an opportunity for her to get to this point. And that's important for us to acknowledge because all of us, hopefully we don't have children that are tormented by demons, but we're all going to suffer. There are going to be moments in our life where we just look up to God and are like, what are you doing? Have you totally abandoned me? None of this makes sense. How is it that you're allowing this? And how come when I look up to you, you're awfully quiet? And I'm getting angry about that. And that's okay. It's not that Jesus has rejected us. It's not that God has abandoned us, nor is it that our faith is misplaced. In those spaces, God is cultivating opportunities for us to be stretched, for our faith to be challenged, with the hope and the desire that in our impoverishment, we would reach out desperately to cling to him as the only source of our hope. And when we do that, something so beautiful is happening that it's actually good that we've suffered in that way. It outweighs the challenge. And that ultimately is what the gospel is trying to communicate so that we can see how important our faith is to God and what it means to really believe.